And for Blu, going back to War Planet's Shadow Raiders with Lord Mantle, how can you do that level of gravel in your voice and not harm yourself? And do you have any, or maybe you can chime in too, Colin, if you have any sort of tips for voice actors on how not to damage your instrument?
Yes, well, it is an instrument, and it behooves one to be careful of that. The most vivid example of using the gravelly voice and people being worried about me was when I did what Nicole was talking about yesterday in Halloween Town. I did a character called Gort. And Gort is, I describe him as a one-man odd couple. Because not unlike Scotty in the situation, but he's doing two characters. Gort actually has a spell cast upon him, which turns him into this gentle, peaceful, light-hearted person. But he comes from, you know, he's gravelly and mean and ornery and doesn't like anybody or anything about him and sort of thing. And then the director was always asking me, "Is your voice okay? Are you okay?" But I'm very fine because there's an area in which I can do the gravelly and play with it, and there's no harm. Now, if I try to get a little rambunctious about that and push it, that's when the damage happens. So I try to be a pro and only go up to a certain extent. Then I can do that all day long, and still have my voice when I'm finished. So that's what I do when I'm working a character that needs that intensity.
And it helps, you know, when you have a director who's kind of sensitive about that. Not all of them are.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
You know, some of them will keep trying to push you a little harder. And I've done lots of those gravelly. I think Omega Red, I think, was like one of the scariest kind of things where I'm just screaming the whole time, and I don't want to do it because I'll hurt myself. But the biggest thing is hydration, sort of recovery, and sort of knowing there's a boundary. If you have a good director, you can always ask, right?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I hold this dying scream off to the end, please? Or they'll sometimes suggest that, and a lot of times we'll do that. We'll sort of say, okay, here you are, we're going to do the screaming battle thing and stuff, and then there's always that crazy falling off of the cliff screaming until you die thing. That we sort of like, let's just hold off on that. Or the giant attack scream, you know, like stuff like that. Yeah. So we'll try to hold it off till the end of the session sometimes.
And it's always prudent to realize that there are many ways to portray intensity that don't require volume. And that's an actor's thing. So you can save your voice but still deliver the goods. You just have to work the nuances, work the edges. And that's some of what you guys like the most.
Yeah, the contained sort of intensity.
Yeah.
I tried to do that more with Captain Callus on Battle Force 5, who's very sort of gravelly like this all the time. And, you know, but he was just sort of, do you really think you want to sit there? You know, and sort of kind of held it back a bit. So.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.